AWS Presents Tech Pioneers in association with CNBC-TV18.com.
Once a concept of science fiction, Gen AI is now the engine that is powering a bold new era of innovation. And as it transforms how we think, work and create, visionary leaders are rising not just to keep pace but to lead the charge. They are turning disruption into opportunity and reimagining what's possible. Across boardrooms and brainstorms, a new kind of leadership is emerging where human intuition meets machine intelligence to shape the future. AWS Presents Tech Pioneers in association with CNBC-TV18 brought together the minds rewriting this future. These pioneers aren't just adapting to the Gen AI wave, but they are building it with fearless ambition and boundary-pushing ideas. They are transforming today's challenges into tomorrow's breakthroughs, one innovation at a time.
Welcome to AWS Tech Pioneer in partnership with CNBC-TV18. Now, this series brings together 8 leaders from the technology industry to explore their approach towards generative AI and understand how they are building the right foundations and levers to enable transformation both at their end and in the markets where they operate. Now, from AI-driven solutions to transformative cloud technologies, this interview series also puts the spotlight on how businesses are harnessing these capabilities and advancements to solve some of the most complex problems of enterprises and the world in general. Viewers, through these 8 unique, insightful conversations, I and you will uncover the trends and the innovations that are redefining our industries and the world. How are you seeing this play out in terms of what are the advantages which the customers are seeing? That could be in terms of velocity or any other aspect. How has it really improved the customer outcome? Do you have any kind of a mechanism to find that?
Yeah, see, what we have done, as I said, we have use cases for clients. More importantly, I would say for Wipro. So we have to eat our own food, right?
Very important.
So I think we had our 50 use cases within Wipro to first make sure that we are seeing the benefits. We have had use cases in the areas of HR, which is in terms of employee engagement, chatbots for leave processing, claims processing, expense management. We have had in operations where we are matching employees to their ambitions. In Wipro, our tagline is ambitions realized. So what we do is every employee, we ask them to update their profile, tell them what is their career ambition, and the AI actually helps in navigating the career path or a learning path so they can meet their aspirations. Similarly, we have applications on the legal side. With the clients, we have a lot of statements of work, which are hundreds of pages. And I think AI helps us to really extract the obligations and really helps us in obligation management. From a Wipro perspective on the use case, we have seen significant benefits. Almost about 20-30% of benefit that have come in terms of accuracy, in terms of productivity. From a client perspective, what we are also able to see is we have been able to increase our development lead time, which is helping in better time to market, which is also helping in improved accuracy. We have automated a lot of testing stuff. So I think clients are able to see the benefits that they are getting more accurate and faster results by applying AI and Gen AI technologies.
For an enterprise company, which is not an IT services provider, what criteria should company use to evaluate and prioritize Gen AI initiatives, basically? How should they pick up the ones which are more important than, probably deprioritize others?
Yeah. I think everything, like any other enterprise program, things start with aligning the program's outcomes to your business strategy. Whatever is the priority for the business need to be actually aligned to the technology, and Gen AI is one of them, right? So it need to be starting with what is the North Star that you are trying to accomplish from a business standpoint. And the North Star could be, as we said in the beginning, it could be a significant cost takeout.
Yeah.
North Star could be about actually applying this to actually get into newer services, newer products, and new business model. How do you want to actually generate that, right? Or you improve your customer experience and on the B2B or B2C from a customer experience, and then drive it to actually grow the business faster. So first and foremost, the company need to be clear on what is that end goal or the North Star they're trying to accomplish. So the program is aligned to that. So number one. Number two, you also need to do a continuous risk assessment. So entering into a program like this is not without actually any considerations for certain potential risk as part and parcel of this. The data privacy, for example, or data sensitivity or the compliance aspects are extremely critical. Selecting the right guardrails, selecting the right framework before you implement a Gen AI program like this is extremely important, because without actually having all the safeguards, you could unnecessarily expose your business to undue risk from the business standpoint. So that becomes another thing. If you're not ready, you don't want to be jumping the bandwagon and then get into large scale production improvement. The third part I would think of is bringing the company together, the different departments, different functions, different capabilities, to actually create a culture of a cross-functional collaboration. Because in order for you to drive that wholesale efficiency, and you need to bring in that whole new business model, so it need to be a collaborative effort across the thing. You can't do this in silos. That's another important thing. The last part I would say is make sure there is a planning for ability to scale it to production scale at an enterprise level, driving this. It could be about your underlying AI infrastructure. It could be about your models. It could be about your compute. It could be about your data lakes and so on. So make sure that you thought through those before actually just doing that part. So these are 4 or 5 important elements I would recommend companies to think through before actually they just go big time on production part.
I know for sure that there's a very deeply embedded capability on health-proof platforms around ML, AI, and you're building further on that to take care of the future use cases. There's a lot of momentum behind health-proof in terms of your business. What's next? What's your journey from here as a CEO?
Yeah, there's endless opportunities for us to help our customers. But if I were to kind of boil it down to the couple main themes, we've spent the last 9 years in our business focused on driving out administrative costs. And specifically, I think agentic AI probably has more opportunity for us to increase the efficiency opportunities within the health plans. But aside from that, the 2 main areas that I would like to focus on are how you surface the disease state of individuals and leverage the information that we have at hand in order to run. This is more on the AI ML type opportunities to look at the data, understand that data, and then be able to leverage that to be able to find either the diseases that exist or the diseases that could potentially exist based on the information at hand. And then the second piece that I think is equally important is how you engage the members and the providers in the activities that are going to help change the behaviors. And trust me when I say human behavior is probably the single hardest thing to change. But at the end of the day, you're going to take the disease that you identified, or more importantly, the potential disease, and you're going to give that information to the provider and the member so that they can bring together the activities that need to happen in order to prevent that disease from progressing. And I think that in the future, AI overall can have a significant play in helping solve those 2 problems. And that's where we're going to be focusing our attention, while at the same time continuing on the agentic piece where there's a bunch of inefficiencies in the admin processes of performing claims processing.
Infosys has been one of the first GSPs to set up a responsible AI office. How do you see this driving a safe but a scalable adoption of Gen AI, and how do you differentiate with this?
No, that's a great question again, right? Because that is a key ingredient for you to actually really be able to use it in the enterprise. So again, if I take Infosys' own example, while we have sponsorship from right from the chairman and the CEO, right, there were also right, they wanted to make sure that we are implementing this in a responsible manner, right? The first thing that we have to do is to actually define what does responsible AI even mean. So we went about actually defining it. We came up with 12 different dimensions, right? Whether it is about trustworthiness, right? Whether it is about privacy, right? It is about IP and how do you actually protect IP. So that way we went and listed 12 different dimensions. Once we listed the 12 different dimensions, we looked at where we are in each of that, what are the risks that are there, how do I mitigate or manage those risks, and also how do I actually measure them, right? Because right, you need to always good to have a quantitative measure to actually look at where you are from a risk perspective. We developed that. Then we started putting controls, process controls, right, training to actually manage all of those dimensions that I talked about. And we realized that if you do this manually, it becomes very effort intensive. So we started using technology itself to do that. So we built what we call technology guardrails. So in our AI platform, we have a layer that actually has a technology guardrails. For example, every prompt that goes outside the platform and every response, we actually check for things like PII information, for IP violation and things like that. And if there is any violation, we actually catch it even before it goes outside the enterprise firewalls. So we built all of these, right? And then we wanted external validation for some of what we have actually done. So we voluntarily actually approached and we went into ISO 42001 certification, right, which is a new certification that has actually come up for right, how you use AI, right, so we went through that and we became, I think, among the first companies in the world to actually get certified on that. And we work with various industry forums as well, right, to both get inputs and also to share our own learnings. So we work, for example, with NIST, right, and we are part of on the AI front, on responsible AI, there are 5 working groups and Infosys is part of all of them.
AWS Presents Tech Pioneers in association with CNBC-TV18.com. AWS Presents Tech Pioneers in association with CNBC-TV18.com.
What do you think from a very pharma industry view? Give us a little bit of a perspective of how is the healthcare, pharma, life sciences industry looking at it? How are you looking at this from a, let's say, 12-month, 18-month kind of a view?
Sure. So if I take a 12, 18-month view, see, the pharma industry and healthcare industry is a very interesting industry, right? It's of course super important to humanity, right? So many of our parameters of life expectancy, quality of life, which have improved over the last few decades, I would say that our industry has contributed a significant portion to that. But this is an industry which is always under continuous pressure because there are two contrarian pulls, right? On one hand, you've got to innovate, right? You've got to improve quality, right? That needs to always happen in this industry. There are always unmet medical needs. You've got to improve the quality. On the other hand, in the overall healthcare industry, which plays for pharma as well, right? There is always this problem of access, right? Access, affordability, and hence pressures on pricing, right? And there's always the cost of innovation. So those pulls and pressures always exist and have been existing, right? In some cases it becomes more, in some cases it becomes slightly lesser, but nevertheless pressure remains. What we at Indegene have been excited about and are more excited about, that one way to deal with this is reimagining how you bring drugs to the market, right? Even think about drugs in the lab using technology, right? And that's where GenAI becomes a really great opportunity for the industry. We believe the industry is going to adopt that in a very significant way over time. Now, I'm not sure about the 12, 18-month period, but if I take a slightly long-term view, it's going to adopt that. If I just take a 12, 18-month view, this is an industry which depends a lot on new launches, right, and patent expiries. The net of this determines growth. The industry is slated for a lot of launches in the next few years, right? While there are a bunch of patent expiries also, but the net result is positive. And the industry is poised to grow at healthy rates between 25 to 28.
Joseph, what is also refreshing is the intentionality, which I know for sure your team is putting in making sure that you're also consuming the architectures, the use cases internally. And you have been quite successful in that. I know for sure that there are a number of ways in which your functions within Happiest Minds are using that. Want to talk about that?
Absolutely. So once we formed the Generative AI business unit, started putting the team together, we went out and spoke to a few customers. And as we spoke, what we realized is that in some cases, customers wanted to see proof of the pudding. Have you done this earlier? And again, we had a bunch of folks that we had brought into the team. And the third element was we had quite a few internal functions and applications which we thought could do with automation or with Gen AI. So we asked our Gen AI business unit to go look at across all our corporate functions, whether it's HR, talent acquisition, finance and accounting, marketing. How do we, is there use cases, how do we leverage this technology? And we came up with a bunch of use cases, around 50 or so. And we prioritized a few which would touch our people first and also have an impact on business, and started off with them. A few of the applications which we've already built and people are using, one of them is what we call SmilesBot, where people are able to query on all the policies that we have and get their various questions answered instead of scrolling through multiple policies. Another one is Search Pro. And here what we've done is we built an application that would allow our talent acquisition team to quickly match a JD against a resume. And so what would take a half an hour or so, they can do it in a minute or less than a minute. Again, for our legal team, when they're putting together contracts, we built an application that helped them quickly, by giving a few constructs, put the contract together at 85, 90%, and then your overall time required comes down. So we have a few other such use cases that we have either implemented or implementing. But what it allows us to do is to tell to our customers that, hey, we've actually dog-fooded this technology. We know it works. Look at the productivity that we've got out of it. So there's more credibility when we make suggestions or proposals to our customers.
Three things from you, Rajesh, which really differentiates Comviva with a company probably who is may have gone in this and still struggling. So what are those three things which you would like to share with the viewers on what are those focus areas which you are executing so well today?
So I think when I walked into this company and I looked at the products are fantastic. Okay, the customers love us. They are across their businesses, from wallet to messaging platforms to their digital BSS. The platforms are there across all the telecom and banking and retail companies. However, when I looked at modernizing these platforms, okay, I looked at companies like yourselves, AWS, which has scale, which has developed scale in terms of the power of compute, the power of artificial intelligence, the power of security. And it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer that if my platforms are going to be AI first, my platforms are going to be on cloud and having a scale to serve 2 billion users on this planet, they need to be partnering with a technology company like AWS. So that's how I actually opened up my journey of modernizing my platforms. And I'm very confident with the partner, and that's why AWS and companies like them are called hyperscalers, because they have the scale which are hyper in nature, and my business needs an hyperscale. So that's where I collaborated with AWS and hyperscalers so that we can be in the forefront on AI. So we are going to be we are an AI first tech platform company. We are going to be 100% on cloud. So we are, with the help of your team, tools, products, we are going on a complete SaaS mode for all of our products globally. And also the go-to-market. I mean, you look at the power of hyperscalers where you have scale to reach to the customers across the globe. We would like to leverage that, and hence my journey has started with very high, forward-looking technology companies like yourself.
What are you hearing from your customers, right? What are they telling you? What are they asking you from a generative AI perspective? And how are you responding to that?
My take, talking to all of our clients, is that initial euphoria is settling down. There is a realization that it's a very strong current that will possibly change the direction of the river itself. It's that strong. In this context, you have two, I would say, horizons on which I'm getting more and more of the conversation. The first one you spoke about is efficiency and productivity. And that has already started getting inculcated into the program. I would actually go ahead and state that it's very refreshing and frankly a great window of opportunity for a company like ours, which is a hungry company, a company of a certain size, which is around 1,000 crores a quarter, which is around 4,000 odd crores for the given year. We believe that we have, riding this Gen AI productivity wave, we get a seat at the table in going ahead and disrupting what typically a larger tech services company might go ahead and do. So it's a fabulous opportunity for a company our size to add more value to the client, and therefore that productivity access is something that we are really riding on. Many of the larger deals that we are constructing in the $50 million, $100 million TCV range actually are riding on that, and the fact that we are so willing to embrace Gen AI into the very DNA of our offering is making us stand out as against our, I would say, larger competitors. So I would say that is the first angle through which clients are looking at it. But then the second horizon is really to do with personalization and predictability. Personalization, I'll give you an example in travel and hospitality, which is one of our called out verticals. You as a guest, I'm sure, would love to go ahead and have an experience not just at the property, but leading to the property and after that, which should be very specific to Amit as such. That is what will go ahead and make you, because of the way Gen AI allows you to go ahead and consume different technologies, you can go ahead and make Amit be at the center of that experience. And that is what is making that particular personalization or hyper-personalization come to life. I believe we are in the upstream part of it. There is so much more that one should do and one can do because of the technology, and as each one of us can expect in the future. I'm just giving you a case of travel and hospitality.
That's a wrap, viewers, on this series of AWS Tech Pioneers in partnership with CNBC-TV18. Stay tuned with us and look forward to great advancements which technology will bring to your doorstep. Thank you for watching.
AWS Presents Tech Pioneers in association with CNBC-TV18.com.